For Morningstar, I'm Jeremy Glazer. Sustainable investing, as it grows in popularity, has also spawned a lot of terminology that can often be confusing. I'm here today with Jon Hale. He's our Director of Sustainable Investing Research, to untangle it. Jon, thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
All right, so I don't know if I can actually list all of these or remember all of them, but we talk about sustainable investing, sometimes impact investing, ESG, SRI, all of these different terms. It becomes a bit of an alphabet soup. What do investors actually need to know? What are the important terms here?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's interesting. You do hear a ton of these different terms. Kind of all started back in the day with socially responsible investing, SRI. It's not used as often anymore. You still do hear the term, but I think just in terms of understanding what happened with all this is that this field has gotten considerably more complex and sophisticated in the last 10 years or so. And so there's been a number of different terms that have kind of evolved to describe it. And at the same time, you know, what used to be known as SRI, socially responsible investing, you know, in the 1980s and 1990s, you know, way back in the last century, you know, it was a type of investing that you know, was pretty niche oriented. It didn't ever really take off. There were some issues with it, I think, from the standpoint of at least perceptions that there was underperformance involved when you excluded primarily things from your portfolio that you know, were products that you didn't like, for instance, and things like that, which you know, kind of gave it a sort of not a very positive connotation among a lot of investors and particularly financial advisors. So new terms can kind of, you know, take attention away from that. So that's one thing that I think has happened. And the other thing, the good news, is that a lot of these terms are used pretty interchangeably. So, you know, some asset manager or advisor might use the term still responsible investing, another might use sustainable investing or impact investing. Generally speaking, they're referring to pretty much the same thing.
And what about ESG? That's one that comes up a lot too.
Yeah, so ESG, it's interesting because, you know, it refers to really in many ways the sort of process that's used to do what I call sustainable investing. And it stands for environmental, social, and governance, governance meaning corporate governance. And it's really about the use of sort of a lens that includes environmental, social, and corporate governance issues that a company is facing to help analyze that company and determine whether it's a good investment or not.
If all of these terms are mostly interchangeable, if investors hear one from one provider or another, an advisor or another, can they just go ahead and even it out? Are there any kind of distinctions that are important?
You know, one distinction is kind of important, and that is that impact investing is sometimes something you hear out there, and impact investing started off as a way of describing what I would actually call sort of high impact investments. So, you know, investments that are not necessarily your sort of equity fund or bond fund out there, but like really targeted investments for that have a high level of social impact in terms of their outcomes, and that really is a small part of a portfolio and is something that mostly high net worth investors you know, engage in. If I were going to use the terms, though, what I would do is use sustainable investing. If I'm an advisor out there, I'm thinking, you know, there's a lot of people out there that are interested in this field now. You know, so what should I refer to it as? I would use sustainable investing because it connects with this broader term sustainability, which is, I think, what's driving most of the interest in the field. There's so many people out there today that kind of relate to that idea, both in their everyday life, in their jobs, in their certainly in their activities as consumers. So it's just not a very big jump to say, oh, I can do that in my investing through sustainable investing.
If you were to look into the future, I know this is always fraught with difficulty. Would you expect that we're going to see kind of more of a proliferation of terms, or do you think there will be standardization around sustainability?
I think we'll probably see more sort of consolidation around the term sustainable investing. You'll hear impact as well, and in a way, I think they go together. I think one of the reasons why someone wants to invest sustainably is not just so that they can enhance potentially their investment return, but also so they can have an impact on things beyond their investment return. It's the same way, same reason why you would do that as a consumer. So I think we're going to see kind of those two things. ESG will be around as kind of the description of how you do all this. I think responsible investing might sort of go by the wayside. I just don't think it has a great connotation either in terms of its history, or plus it kind of puts people on the defensive if you're not interested in investing this way. Are you being irresponsible? It's one of those terms I just don't think is very resonant with people as opposed to sustainable investing and impact.
Jon, thanks for helping us untangle this today.
No, thanks for having me.
For Morningstar, I'm Jeremy Glazer. Thanks for watching.